Good evening, everybody. Yeah, no, I haven't gone away. I'm still here. Just had a few weeks off. That's all. Welcome to round 10 of this 12-round, 12-week Formula One League. This time, of course, we're at that great super speedrome track of Monza. And the guys have just entered qualifying now. Just been watching them doing practices, ridiculous times out there. 118s, you know, I mean, crikey, holy moly. We'll talk more about that in a minute, but first of all, introduce the two wonderful guys that are going to join me tonight. First of all, Draco. Good evening to you, Draco.
Good evening from the western side of the pond, ladies and gentlemen, and we are here at the motorsports mecca of Monza.
Awesome. Looking forward to hearing Draco during the stream. And, hey, let's go and have a proper brew. We've got TK with us. How you doing, mate?
Hey up, lad. Hey, all right.
Hey up, lad. You all right? You all right, you saying?
Top of the morning, mate. Brilliant. Waiting for Monza. Here we go.
Marvellous, brilliant. So, Draco, TK joining me tonight. And anybody else who wants to jump on into the commentary box and add their 5 pence worth are absolutely welcome to. And if you can't jump in because it's locked, I think Draco's locked it now. But if you can't jump in, just send one of us a message and we'll drag you in. So, round 10. Now, I've missed the past couple of rounds. Past couple of races, Draco. What should we be looking for tonight out of these guys based upon the last couple of races?
Good grief. Well, Hax was certainly on top of things a couple of weeks ago, and then how the mighty had fallen the week after when he was disqualified after lap 12. It's a bit of a disappointment, but I do know that this guy loves this track. Definitely keep an eye on it. Rigel has been, man, a consistent force of nature. He will definitely be one to watch. Justin Madley has been actually, if nothing else, very consistent, but still a strong competitor. He will be fun to watch. And as always, FX, he's in it to win it. My money, however, guys, is on Rodders. He's due. He's been strong. He's put in great strategy. I think he's got it this week.
Now that's interesting. What about you, TK? What are your thoughts?
Well, as you said, the other one was the tyre selection that seemed to have been changed on the fly that won it for C-Hacks 2 rounds ago. It might come down to that, but I doubt it with this track. It's fast, it's nippy. Is it going to come down to accidents on corners? Things like that.
Very good point, yeah. Let's ride with Dave Crew and let's zip around. So we're on the start-finish straight now, coming up to the first chicane, braking around 100 metres. Then goes Dave, looking out for his exit. Nice exit there. Now he comes along around the Curva Buesano. My Italian's bloody awful, and so is my pronunciation, so sorry about that. We'll just call it the big curve, which I think is what it means. Into the second chicane then. And when it exits out the second chicane, he'll be exiting or extending away now towards this first right-hander, the first right-hander curve, into the second right-hander, slightly more than 90 degrees, slightly less, sorry, than 90 degrees, along the Seraglio curva, under the bridge, extend out 400 metres, 200, 100, brake around about now into the Scari chicane. And then, of course, that infamous back straight down to the simply known as Parabolica, which actually, in the big scheme of things, actually is not a Parabolica. It's an inverted Parabolica, but extends out of the Parabolica. Now, what sort of time will? Oh, look at that! Straight into the pits. But you can see those sort of times up there, 118s. You know, I mean, that's really fast. You not think, fellas?
Fast. They're driving they're driving it like they stole it. Holy crap!
This is what they do. As soon as we change server, they're there, and they're practicing all week. They're great.
Yeah, there's certainly some commitment out there, and I mean, you look at what we've got 13 runners out there at the minute. I'm not sure if anyone else is joining. Personally, if this was my league and I was in this, I wouldn't want to drop Monza. It's a fast track. I'm willing to bet these guys have got next to no downforce whatsoever. Full setups. Don't forget, of course, they've got a mandatory pit stop. They've got to change all 4 tyres. so far out there. I'm not sure whether you can see on the stream. I think there's an error, but we can't see the. Oh yes, we can. We can see the tyre down at the bottom of the centre of the screen. You can see next to FX's name. That's the tyre compound there. I can tell you right now, they're all running softs apart from Cos, as is Cos's strategy. He's running hards. Now earlier on, Draco, you mentioned that Madley's been quite fast, and we can see Madley currently running 6th. I know he's put some serious practice in. He's got some new hardware. Don't tell anyone. He's got some new hardware, and that's why I think he's a bit faster.
That could do it. You know, definitely a better engine behind the engine, right?
Yeah. What do you know about this track, fellas? Well, we've got 7 minutes left of qualifying. What do you know of this track? Do you know anything about it? You want me to mention something?
Well, I do know that these 2 chicanes on the Grand Prix version of this track have been responsible for many a car part and a crew chief's nightmare. That first chicane that we saw C-Hacks go through has claimed many a race driver, especially as on the first lap, everyone's clamoring for a good position. That's really going to be paramount to see when we begin this race, just to make sure that, you know, everyone's coming through and racing cleanly. That chicane at the beginning of the race is a lot like that first turn at Spa. If done badly, the whole race goes very badly.
Yeah, very good point. And you're absolutely right. That first chicane is, as you say, it's caught out many real-life drivers and sim racers. I love this track personally. What about you, TK?
Love it. Only thing is, would you think it's one of those tracks that allows you to get into a zone?
Yeah, I think it does. Yeah.
I agree because it's got a lot of straights in between the corners. It allows you to get comfortable, kind of allows you to get recentered after a bad turn. It's not forgiving speed-wise, but it is a little bit more forgiving concentration-wise.
Last week we had a little bit of an incident with the pit lane and things like that, but a lot of drivers were saying that it allowed them to zone. Once they go in the zone, they were flowing it, but you know, something for this type of track.
Yeah, it's a good track. Saying that though, you know, in real life, believe it or not, it's a Marmite track, because some drivers actually say it's boring, because it is so fast. Its nickname is the Cathedral of Speed, and it was only as a result of a huge incident in the 60s, early 60s. Jim Clark's Lotus went straight off at the Parabolica, straight into the air, over the fence, killed 15 people, with Wolfgang von Tripp, my notes tell me here. He was racing for Ferrari at the time. And it was as a result of that accident that they said, right, let's slow it down. And if you go onto a Assetto Corsa, for example, and you run the historic version of this, you'll find that there are no chicanes. It's a huge, cathedral of speed. So yeah, I think you're right. You can get into a zone because it does allow you to go fast, and providing you've got your braking points right and you're entering your exits right on these chicanes. That's a big providing, isn't it? I mean, you've only got to screw it up once, but this is a really fast track. I think on the tyres, I think it's quite good on the tyres because the corners are not fast corners. You've got the double rights, haven't you? But outside of that, and the Parabolica, but outside of that, most of this is long straights.
Well, and a few high-speed turns as well. The Ascari chicane is not what you would call a very slow chicane, but it's very technical. But I do agree. This track it's really a spectating track. It's beautiful to watch races on. It is not very demanding of the car in the way of tire wear.
Yeah, I think the place where I usually lose quite a bit of it, or all of it, is Parabolica, where you drop a bolica, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
you get it totally wrong.
Look at it.
You can lose. I mean, you can fly in lap and it's all gone there, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's a good point. And I take your point as well, Draco, about the Ascari there. Yeah, that's a bit of an extended chicane there, and you can scrub your tyres quite a bit on those on those curbs there. But I think we'll be surprised. I think that this is a sort of soft, medium, soft strategy. It'd be interesting to see what the strategy is with the guys out there. Okay, well look, 3 minutes and 13 seconds left. Currently, Rigel is running in first place with a 1:18.1. The Rodders with a 1:18.1 again. 7.1, 900ths of a second behind Rodders.
That is crazy, and that is fast.
900th of a second. Rodders is behind. That is that's the sort of time differentials we're seeing here with these top runners. So before we have a quick warm up, etc., let's just remind ourselves. Earlier on, we said we were at Monza, round 10 of this 12 rounds of Formula One with RWB International. 13 runners tonight. Monza, the Autodrom Nazionale di Monza. What do you think about that? That's my Italian.
Nice.
As far as it goes, I think.
Does that come with a flag?
That just rolled off the tongue. I want to order some pizza now. Hold on.
Comes with a cornetto, that. It's actually in the Royal Park in the city of Monza, 9 miles northeast of Milan. 3.6 miles, 5.7 Ks, 10 corners, 7 rights, 3 lefts. So it's a right corner biased track. 2 chicanes, as we mentioned earlier on, known simply as the first and second chicane. 1 extended chicane, as you heard earlier, Draco mentioned, that's the Ascari. And 1 offset parabolica, which means, of course, a parabolica being a corner of equal radius. That means the entry into that parabolica is inverted. In other words, it's straight. It's not a perfect half circle, and that corner is simply known as the parabolica. So this is a fast circuit. Some real racing drivers refer to it as perhaps slightly boring. For us watching it in the real world, and of course the sim world, you heard Draco earlier on. It's a great track. And that is the fact. It's a great track to gain confidence in, really, particularly if you're starting off in sim racing. Most people who start off in sim racing who haven't got that many hours in the seat, they've all done Monza. It's a good one to get confidence on.
Yeah, that's a great track to get yourself acclimated with a car, too. It really is.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. I think it comes on standard on every race platform. It's classic.
Yeah,
for sure.
Like I said, it's the mecca of motorsports right there, man. Especially for European tracks, everyone knows Monza.
Indeed, they do. Built, nicknamed the Cathedral of Speed. Well, there you go. We'll come on to that later on. But the qualifying is wrapping up now. 30 seconds left to go. Is that order going to change? Currently, we can see Rigel there in first place with 1:18.126. Rodders closed it up a bit with a 1:18.180. Dave Crew, great result for Dave Crew. Now, why is that a great result for Dave Crew? I'll tell you why. Look at the team name, Game of Smug. So Rigel and Dave Crew in first and third position, undoubtedly, absolutely, will put the team in a good position. And we'll talk more later on about the team scores and so on. But that puts Game of Smug in a really good position. 4th place to C-Hacks. 5th to H-Tune. Well, very well done to H-Tune. That's a fantastic place for him to be. Justin Madley in 6th place. FX 7th. Pinpoint in 8th. Al Gartner. I wasn't sure Al Gartner was going to join us tonight, but there he is. We just see him on the track there. So he is. And then Mark Bean, Flack, Charger, and Cos. So they've got 4 minutes 40 seconds now of warm up. Remembering this is just again for them to get out and just sort their positions out and get any fine tuning of their setup, but ultimately, fine tuning of their real life setup, their sim racing gear setup. I'm talking about their cars pretty much set up as it is. These guys have been practicing all week, like you said, like you heard TK say earlier on. Monza, built in 1922. But the trees, you can see all, throughout the park, there's trees everywhere, and that actually halted progress due to the old conservationists, the old, what are they called? What's the new movement?
Flaps?
No.
Environmentalists.
No, what are they called?
Environmentalists.
Dickheads. The guys. Tree
huggers?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh.
Do you know what? They're so insignificant, I can't remember their names. Something to do with a rebellion. But those people back in 1922 protested against the harm caused to the trees. Extinction Rebellion Phase 1 in 1922. And that put some time delays on. And in the end, the government of Italy beat them all up, threw them all in jail, and brought in another 3,500 people to finish off the track. 3 months later, it was finished, and the first race took place in August of that year with an open ceremony of 200 cars driven by the Milan Automobile Club. And a little secret for you to close off the thing about the track, 1922. Now, around about that time, tracks started to appear all over the world to try and replicate that which was well known and well respected as the ultimate speed drome, which of course was Brooklands. And this is the Italian version, or certainly started off to be the Italian version of Brooklands. You heard earlier on Draco mention about many crashes on the first chicane, and sadly there have been many deaths around Monza, purely and simply down to the amount of speed. I mean, look, we're watching modern technology, modern aerodynamics, modern engine, modern drivers and modern training. But imagine going around here in a Bentley, 18 cylinder at 140 miles an hour with the drag coefficient of a brick. People are going to die. It's as simple as that. Sadly, in 61, as I mentioned, Jim Clark and Wolfgang von Tripp, big old accident at the Parabolica, straight into the air, straight over the fence, killed 15 people outright. And since then, of course, the chicanes have appeared to try and slow it down. But crikey, what sort of speeds are you going to hit up around here, TK?
Me? I'm usually in grass going around here.
What about these guys?
Let's have a gander. That's a good one.
Must be what, 210, 220 miles an hour, something like that?
213 Dave Crew just topped out at there.
There you go. 213 miles an hour. I can't even count the 213, let alone do it in speed. So that just tells you how fast they're going around it.
I usually go around it like GTs, GT3 series, that type. Everyone does it, you know what I mean? But that's why I'm not playing with these. They're too fast for me, but epic cars.
I can't even fathom the reaction speed that you have to have at that speed. That is just crazy.
In my reactions, I'd have to book them a week early.
You'd have to book a week early. You'll have to send me an invite.
And if it's a bank holiday Monday, I've got no hope of getting that one off.
C-Hacks then. C-Hacks on it like a pigeon outside Greg's. We'll be looking for great things from him. Earlier on, we mentioned about the team, Dave Crew in third, and of course Rigel taking pole position. Why was that good? Well, currently in the team standings, first, second and third. First place with 537 points, Game of Smug. That is Rigel and Dave Crew. Second place, Buckfast Racing with 530. So all to play for on the team dynamic side of things. That's Rodders and Jammer. And third place, Punterific with 434. So, 96 points behind is C-Hacks and H-Tune. So there's the first, second and third. So all to win, all to play for in the stakes of the team scores.
And on that note, too, with the Punterific team, they have actually qualified fourth and fifth. So that should be interesting. They're going to start out in the middle of the field, but they're two very strong racers for the overall effect. So this should be really interesting.
Awesome. Well, 50 seconds to have a last scratch of the piles, to kiss the wife goodbye, and to have a quick cigarette and have a quick brew, because you need to get back onto the circuit.
Say a quick Hail Mary. Oh.
Quick Hail Mary, yeah. I'm not seeing anything though. I hope this is going to transition. Oh no, this is the garage scene. I think our race director. Oh, there we go. Crikey, holy moly! For a minute then. Okay, on to TV, on to Dave Crew. Third position. Rigel, first position. We'll watch him as he gets going, and he keeps his first place down the start finish. But look at Rodders on the inside there. Coming into the first chicane. C-Hacks getting out of shape just on the grass there, fellas. Rigel takes first place into the first chicane. Rodders sticks behind him like glue. on him like a tramp on chips. And going around the first corner up to the second chicane, you can see that they're all getting around there in one piece, I hope. Yeah, everyone has. Great stuff.
Mr. Crew, where are you? He's dropped back big time.
Yeah, he has, hasn't he? Dave Crew, way back in fact, he's not even showing. He's on 13th place, so I think he had a problem. He's running 13th now. We're riding with him. Yeah. Yeah, those director suggestions, goodbye. We don't want them. Seahacks, 0.3 of a second behind Rodders. And Rodders now 0.14114 behind Rigel. Rigel is definitely extending away. Rigel on the medium, Rodders on the medium tyres, along with H-Tune and FX and Charger. Cos on hard and everyone else on soft. So Rigel really is extending away now. What, 1.5 seconds? Now, how long, guys, do you think they'll be able to go around here on soft tyres?
So what we said last time, TK, right, about 25 laps on the 1 minute track over in Most, right? So I'm going to say 15 laps.
Maybe about 15, yeah. It depends, because it seems to be heavy on the lefts.
Seahacks looking on the inside of that second chicane there, but Rodders had the exit, so and Rodders is defensive going into the first right. Oh no, Seahacks takes him. Seahacks has taken him now. Rodders will tuck in behind him now, riding with Rodders. A little bit wide there, and you know what? Mr. Bean is challenging Rodders as well, only 0.5 of a second behind him. We can see him there on the inside. So yeah, Rodders is on the medium tyres, so maybe Rodders is going to play the long game. Undoubtedly, these front three have got better grip, Rigel, Seahacks and Bean with the soft tyres. But, you know, Rodders is well placed on medium tyres in fourth.
Charger seems to have been disqualified.
Oh, really?
Yeah, looks like I saw a message concerning speeding in the pit lane.
Oh, that is such a shame. Mark Bean then challenging Rodders coming into the first chicane. Seahacks almost looks like he's holding Rodders up, and Rodders goes for the. Oh, that was a brave move, but just not enough time, I don't think.
That was dangerous.
Riding with Madley, who's hovering back there like an eagle, waiting to pounce on a rabbit sitting in the middle of the field, eating its buttercup and thinking it hasn't got a problem. You will do if it comes down for you. And Madley can see in front of him Rodders and Bean, and have seen the challenges that Rodders has made with Bean. Seahacks has exploited that and moved away, 1.9 seconds away now from Bean. But you know, Madley will undoubtedly use that new hardware that he's got, and at the first opportunity, I'm sure he will exploit that. But yeah, Al Gartner, great position for Al Gartner, currently running in 6th. Good for him, eh?
Excuse me, just having a look there. Rodders and 2 others are on mediums, rest on softs.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, Rodders was on mediums, H-Tune on mediums, and also FX on mediums, and Charger was on mediums as well. So, you know, Rodders is perfectly well placed to be on medium tyres in 4th place. The front 3 are on softs.
Yeah, I think Rodders might have this one.
We've seen this play out too before, and it's definitely a good strategy move. And Rodders has actually played this before, and has come out smelling like roses by the end of the race. It'll be interesting to see if this holds.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's a long race. Make no bones about that. You've got an hour and 15 left. It's a fast track. It's not so hard on the tyres. You've got a couple of chicanes. You've got a couple of sweepers. The first right, we're seeing Rodders go around there, and into the second right. And as you said earlier on, Draco, you got the Ascari. But apart from that, there isn't much that's going to scrub these tyres. So I'm expecting these mediums to go for nigh on 27, 28 laps, possibly 30 laps.
Yeah, just keep in mind too, if they're doing a 118, 120 right now, looks to be about the normal for the lap time. You know, that's going to get you, so 15 laps in there is going to get you 20 minutes, 21 minutes and change maybe. You know, and keep in mind too, as tire wear goes down, you know, so will the time. So, you know, we're definitely going to be looking at the tire strategy, and I think around lap 20 to 25, we're going to see that really start taking shape.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we just flicked on to Madley, because Madley was in 1 second, crossing the line behind Rodders, tucked up behind him, 0.7 of a second behind him actually. So he's got DRS, where poor Rodders has not got DRS, and Madley is on soft tyres, so it's a fair assessment that Madley will catch Rodders and perhaps challenge him for that slot. I think the sage Scotsman is sitting there chuckling to himself. I know he's put some hours in around here, and like I said, I'm willing to bet that he's going to be reliant on those medium tyres to give him those extra legs, that extra length. Everyone wants a bit of extra length and a bit of girth, but a bit of extra length on those soft tyres that Rigel is running with and Seahax is running with. Rigel, I mean, crikey, 2.4 seconds in front of Seahax. Seahax 3.9 seconds in front of Rodders. Rodders now being challenged as we're on the wing by Madley coming through the Parabolica. Madley will have DRS again as we see him close up. We'll flick to a wider view, and he's got the inside. Rodders is not going to challenge him.
And he's got DRS enabled.
He's got DRS. He's going to let him have it, I think. Izzy L as like. But, you know, look, Madley has got another 2 DRSs. And he is, 0.2 of a second behind him.
He's got DRS enabled or on open now. You can see that tail.
Yeah, and he will open that up round the back straight. I've no doubt about that. Point being is that Madley will just keep dangling Rodders on the end of that fishing line just within a second, so that he can keep having that DRS. Madley is a talented racer, no question, but Rodders is better. Rodders is faster, and I think Rodders has put in a lot of time in around here. But Madley is on softs, and he's got DRS, and I don't think Rodders will be able to hold him away for too long.
That'll make better sense too for him to go ahead and sit in Rodders' back pocket for a little bit, catch that drift, and let Rodders do all the work with the Air Force.
Well, Rodders is the sort of strategist that actually, if he thinks that Madley is putting too much pressure on him, not that is the thing, but I think Rodders will be looking at this and saying, you know what, he's faster than me, so okay, I'll play the same sort of game. And I'll stay behind you for a few more laps just before your tyres go under, and I'll get DRS, and then I'll play the DRS game with you. But these two clearly on a DRS little battle going on there.
Certainly making for good viewing.
Through the field then, Madley 0.2, 0.18, 0.17, 0.15, closing up onto the second chicane. But through the field, Mark Bean in 5th place. 0.187 behind Madley. Behind Bean, we've got Pinpoint. Pinpoint. But Pinpoint running great, 6th place and 0.4 of a second behind Mark Bean. So, undoubtedly he's got DRS. There it is. So Pinpoint has got DRS. So Pinpoint will be playing with Bean, not dissimilar to what Madley and Rodders are playing their little game right now. So here's another DRS battle going on with Mark Bean and Pinpoint. Let's see how this plays out for a little while.
Yeah, Pinpoint were a little bit unlucky last week being took out, but seems to be doing really nice against it tonight. He loves his F1, this bloke.
Yeah, don't count out the governor. Here he comes.
Yeah, and he's got that. I think he'll just tuck in behind him. He'll make sure that he gets DRS again, and bang. Looking back from Mark Bean, you can see Pinpoint's DRS open, but Mark Bean's just got the legs a little bit. Just a little bit too much, and just a bit of a bang into the old back of Mark Bean there. Pinners gracefully will let Mark Bean go. I'm absolutely positive of that. But what a shame. A great little battle playing out by these two. But yeah, bit of late braking there by Pinpoint, but you know what, fair play, sir. You allow Mark Bean to go in front, and I'm sure Mark Bean won't hold that against him. It's a long race. It's an hour and 9 to go. This is just as much about stamina as it is about your ability to set the car up, practice, put the time in, and your natural ability. So fair play, Pinpoint. Sorry that happened to you two guys, but we'll keep an eye on you.
Commentators curse strikes again.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I've been storing them up, TK.
It just it explodes like
You've been storing it up. I've been using them up. Ugh.
FX
cream for it.
FX in 8th place currently, running well in the just outside the middle of the pack there. He'll be quite happy chundling around there in 8th. He'll run a clean race, and yeah, we'll see how he does later on. H-Tune, who earlier on was in 3rd or 4th, I can't remember now, so forgive me if that's wrong, but H-Tune now in race pace now back down into 10th, but 0.6 of a second behind Mark Bean, so he should have got DRS going into there. I'm sure he did.
I don't know if he can grab Charger now. He's had his shower and after his race overalls. I don't know if he's about still.
Well, let's see. Let's see now. Is he in channel? Yeah. Well, why don't we drag him down and see what happened? On to Cos. Cos running on hard tyres, as is his strategy. Cos will just go around at a nice little pace, and yeah, as you know, Cos's strategy is always the long game. Cos is the sort of guy who will do half this race on hards and the other half on hard. So you know, well, let's see how he does. So look, we got Charger with us. So Charger, good to talk to you, old friend. I haven't spoken to you for a couple of weeks, having a bit of time off. But what happened, buddy? Disqualified.
Yeah, I hadn't done enough practice on mediums. They caught me out on the last chicane, and I clipped the curb, hit the wall, got full aero damage. So I managed to get back. Well, I say that I when I went to go on the last corner to turn, it didn't turn. I hit the wall, but I managed to get into the pits, and my pit limiter didn't work. So a bit of a disaster. Yeah, just a disaster to go. And now my keyboard's broken.
Oh, there ain't nothing worse. There ain't nothing worse than a hardware letdown. And as you were telling us about that, we saw Madley, the first packet of the DRS wars between him and Rodders, just take Rodders coming into the first chicane. And of course, Madley should use this opportunity now to extend away. He's got 2 more DRSs. But as I said earlier on, you know, Madley, you know, you need to make sure that you extend away more than a second, because otherwise you're going to have this DRS war again with Rodders, who actually Rodders has got DRS. I saw his DRS open. There you go. Rodders has got DRS as well. So perhaps when we were flicking through the guys, maybe he's got that left over. Does it carry over, Charger?
No, it doesn't carry over. He must have been behind someone within 1 second at some point.
Yeah, interesting. So these guys here, Rodders 0.3 of a second behind Madley now, so he has definitely got DRS. As you can see, it's open there, so he's not going to challenge him coming into... Oh, no, terrible, as I just bloody fuck me. Does Rodders allow Madley to carry on? No, he doesn't. Quite unusual. Rodders, it was you that hit Madley, not the other way around, but I'm sure he's just extending away. Yeah, I thought so. He'd let him go, and that's the right way to do it, ladies and gents. You know, don't just sit there and wait for the other person to go in front of you. Get going, keep the momentum going, and then allow that person to take that place if indeed it was a genuine mistake, as you've just seen Rodders demonstrate for us. But no harm done, I don't think. You know, first place currently Rigel, second place Seahax, who's caught up Rigel now. 0.5 of a second, fellas. He's caught up, so 2 seconds in 3 laps.
He's doing the work. I had no doubt in my mind that this is going to be probably what we'll see throughout most of the race there, Tiger.
Now, a question for you, Charger. Can you tell us what your downforce settings were?
Yeah, I was on 8 front and 6 rear.
Wow. No. We just see Seahax looking at challenging Rigel, and Rigel just clips him on the inside, and they're neck and neck now, side by side, coming around the curve of Boissano, and Seahax just takes first place there. They're both on soft tyres. Rigel's 0.15 seconds behind him. So, you know, certainly still within challenging territory. But, you know, I know for a fact these guys have put the time in. So this will be interesting, this particular battle here. Rodders and Madley are still having their battle, but it's become a threesome. It's become a three-wayer. I wouldn't want to be in the middle of a three-wayer. I'm either at the front or at the back, but not in the middle, surely.
Bit of sandwich there, mate. Very nice sandwich.
Oh, that is the knife fight in a phone booth, guys, right there.
So, Charger, you said you were 8 at the front and 6 at the rear.
Yes, mate.
So hardly any downforce. It's a fast track, and I'm assuming you went heavy on the front so that you had a bit more turning.
Yeah, and also for top speed for the rear. I mean, you can hit 213 miles an hour down the first straight, because I tweaked the gearing and tweaked 7th, because 7th was useless if you didn't tweak it. But yeah, 213, so it's about 340 odd kilometres an hour they're hitting.
What pit strategy were you aiming at?
Am I allowed to say? Is
Yes.
anyone
Well, it's
in
just,
the-
no one's lit. No, it's a nice quiet room. It's all soundproof.
Well, I know
We won't
what
tell anyone.
I know what strategy Rodders is running, because we had a little. He gave us a little hint, should we say? And FX is running the same. They're doing a one-stopper on mediums.
Yeah, I bloody knew it. Mediums, 30 laps, one stopper. You know what? The only thing I didn't say was one stop, but I reckon they'll get 30, 32, 33 laps out of a maximum out of mediums. But interesting. And now that is very interesting, because earlier on we said Rodders we think is well placed in 3rd place, that he's maintained. That DRS war now has now moved to Dave Crew and Madley. But Rodders 3rd place, medium tyres, and of course Rigel and Seahacks up at the front there. Seahacks extending away now, 1.7 seconds away from Rigel, but of course, you know, Rodders is on mediums. He can go 30, 31 laps on them, whereas I would expect probably Rigel and Seahacks to start thinking about coming in around, lap 22, 23?
I'd say about lap 20. I was going to do a 2-stopper on softs, but I changed at the last minute, hence the reason I wasn't used to the mediums. I've done all my testing on softs. The softs are really good.
Wonder if anyone's going to jump in and get a soft set and try and go for the fastest lap, get that 1 point.
I wouldn't be surprised if someone on soft stretched it out to maybe 25 laps and then bang mediums on and done a one-stopper.
Well, Seahacks right now is holding the lap, the best lap, with a 1:19.2, unless you guys can see something that I can't, and he's on softs. Rigel on a 1:19.8 is his fastest, but Dave Crew on a 1:19.588, Madley on a 1:19.525, Rodders on a 1:19.8. So, you know, for the love of God, we are talking hundredths of a second here and tenths of a second. So, you know, the top 5, the top 6, the top 5 are on 1:19s, between 1:19.2, 3 tenths, separate the top 6, 1:19.2 to 1:19.8.
Also, going back to Crew, he went from 0. Well, it was in, 5 placed on the actual start line, but then he had I don't know what happened in the first chicane, slipped back, and he's now up to 4th, as you were saying. Yeah, he's had an epic rise.
Oh, terrible,
Oh, no!
terrible news as Dave Crew gets hit by Madley, who just I think that was a racing incident. I don't think that was certainly not intentional. Intentional or not, there's very possibly, Dave Crew is now retired, so it's very possible that there may well be some form of petition there. It was a bit of late braking, it wasn't intentional, but the fact was that Dave Crew's race is over as a result of Madley hitting him coming into the Prima Variante, the first chicane. Now, damage is on, so Madley's car could well be damaged. Yeah, that's a shame, isn't it? Just as we were talking about that, TK.
You did think it's true. It happens.
Fucking hell! The game of smug team, didn't want that. They're running first for the team race right now. and that would have been really good. And what a great race he was having as well. As you say, down to 13th, back up to 4th, having a DRS war with Madley. Madley will be spitting feathers and disappointed that he's done that to Dave. I've no doubt, and I know this man is a gentleman. He will speak to him afterwards. But, you know, fair play. You know, if Dave Crew petitions that, then Madley will accept the findings of the stewards. I've no doubt. That aside, let's move on. Madley in 4th place. Seahacks in 1st place. We'll have a quick rundown, then I'll hand over to you boys to talk for a little while. Seahacks in 1st place, and right behind him, 1 second, we've got the Chief Trackmaster, Rigel. Both of these guys on soft, so you can see that on their name there. Rodders, the Sage Scotsman, 12 seconds though, you know, 12 seconds behind those front two. You know, just his last lap was a 1:19.9. He's fastest on the faster than Seahacks and Rigel their last laps. Just because you're at the front doesn't mean to say you're going to be doing the fast laps, especially when you've got Seahacks and Rigel who are essentially battling each other. You can end up going slightly slower. So anyway, the fact is Rodders is 12 seconds behind them two, but on mediums. He's on a 1-stopper. He'll probably come in around about lap 30, 32, something like that, perhaps. So, you know, how long do you need for a pit stop? Around about 35, 40 seconds?
The average pit stop, I actually timed that here a couple of days ago. Average pit stop times for some splash of fuel, 4 tires, is roughly about 35 seconds.
Now, TK, do you think that they will be putting fuel in, or do you think it will just be tyres?
Tyres definitely, if they're on a soft, definite. Mediums, you might be able to make it to end on a medium. Not sure on the size of tanks to get the full. Is it 80 minutes we're doing?
90 minutes. 90 minutes.
Yeah, 80. Yeah. You know, we get full tank. And might have a little bit of a splash and dash. Yeah, depends on how they're splitting the pits up.
Flicked on to Pinpoint there, fellas. Just caught, I think, just as he passed FX. FX tucked in behind him now, riding in cockpit with FX. 0.3 of a second coming into Ascari. The point being, can FX keep within a second of Pinpoint? Pinpoint now extending away to 0.8 of a second. But if FX is within a second crossing that line, he'll have DRS and could well possibly challenge Pinners. But I think Pinners' is set up in general is, I think, a bit faster. Pinners now is in the safe zone. He's over a second. So FX won't get that DRS, but we'll, as I said, we'll happily sit in 8th. Pinpoint then is now climbing back up with that little shunt that he had earlier on. Which who was that with? It was with Bean, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was with Beans.
10 runners left, ladies and gents. From the back then, Cos currently running in 10th. Last lap was a 1:23.4. Flack in 9th position with a 1:20.1, his last. FX, we've just seen him. His last valid lap was a 1:20. His best lap was a 1:20.337. Pinpoint currently in 7th place. His last lap was a 1:20.185. Mark Bean currently in 6th place. His last lap was invalid, but his best lap's been a 1:20.111. Al Gartner in 5th place. Great to see Al Gartner out there. He wasn't sure whether he was going to join us tonight, but he has managed to. And his last lap was a 1:20.414. But so by certainly not slow. Put it like that. He's doing a good job. Oh, holy moly! Oh, Seahacks. There we go. Now we're on lap. What? We're 18, on lap 18. Lap 18. Yep. Yeah, I said lap 20, didn't I? But Seahacks has now come out, joining the race now. Coming just in front of FX there. I think he'll just have the legs on FX. So he joins in 6th place. So he is now pitted, and he's gone back onto soft. Interesting.
I was about to say he's gone back on soft, so it looks like he's planning for a 2-pit strategy, but trying to go ahead and maintain that speed that he's been having most of that race.
It did work for him at Spa that time. He adapted on fly, he said, and after commentary that we grabbed him, and he said he adapted on fly that he'd saw the speed gain and stuck with it. But interesting if those
Looks
mediums will hold out.
Looks like Pinners is actually pitted as well, I think.
Yes, he
Yep,
has. Yeah. Now, let's just review something here. Rodders is now 10.5 seconds behind Rigel. Rigel is on softs. He's on lap 20. Those soft tyres will start to drop off now. Rodders' mediums are at peak. They're approaching optimum. So Rodders is closing up. Earlier on, he was 12, 13 seconds behind that group. Rigel and Seahacks. Now he's 10 seconds. Now 9.8 seconds. So, he is closing up on Rigel. So we should expect Rigel to pit probably within the next 2 laps. Charger, quick question for you, and that is that on medium tyres, roughly optimum for medium tyres, roughly around what, between lap 18 and lap 22, 23?
Optimum, as in they're at the best.
Yeah.
I'd say anywhere from about lap 10 to be honest.
Really?
They have quite a wide range, yeah, and they don't drop off either, like a stone. So yeah, about lap halfway through, I'd say lap 15 maybe.
Interesting. So they peak quite soon, and then they plateau for quite a while, and then drop off slowly. Where of course the softs are instant optimum, and they'll drop off as we've seen, off the edge of a cliff, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it on a graph, the mediums will be a line, then a peak, then a line, whereas the softs will be just a complete arc downwards. It's a bit technical.
Interesting.
So
yeah,
this is
I mean, I should have gone with softs. No, I should have gone with softs. I was quite used to softs. I was putting 119s in and softs, but yeah. Sorry, go on, Trey.
Well, we're seeing some interesting timings here, Tiger. So we're taking a look right now at the last laps. We've been seeing things kind of in the 119, 120 range. I'm now starting to notice that there's a lot of fluctuation on the soft tire users now. Case in point, Rigel's last lap before this one was a 120.6. His next lap that he just completed now is a 119.8. As time goes on, you're going to start seeing that variation. You're going to have that kind of wiggling out that usually means, as you see those times extend over and over, that those tires are going to be starting to become a little bit unmanageable. So, like in this case, looks like Flack has pitted. So we're going to start seeing a lot of pits here.
Very good point, yeah. Wow. Now Rigel is keeping that time differentiation to Rodders, between 9.7 and 10.1 seconds. So, Rodders is not catching as quick as we thought he would do. But I tell you who he is, and that's this guy, Seahacks. He's now only 2.8 seconds behind Mark Bean, so we'll keep a close eye on that. These guys have sort of, created a bit of space between themselves. Rigel in first place. Rodders in second place, 9.2 seconds. So, there I say he's not closing up. He's just closed up a second. Madley in third place there after that bit of a difficult session earlier on with Dave Crew where he went up his butt. Al Gartner, wow. Fair play, Al. Al Gartner, nice and safe. 6 seconds behind Madley in fourth place. Al also on soft tyres. Mark Bean in fifth place. Seahacks currently in sixth place. Fair play, Mark Bean is keeping him at 2.6 seconds behind him. FX running in seventh place. Quick feature announcement, fellas. I've got a feature announcement, fellas.
Ooh, do tell.
Drum roll, please.
Oh, I thought I was going to do the Morse code.
Well, indeed. The restaurant is situated behind the cinema.
In the event of a fire, please run like fuck.
Be sure to tip your waitress, but not too much. She will tip her over.
On the screen, we're looking at FX, and we can see FX's driver profile. How about that? We can see his in-game name, his real name, how old he is. I'd like to point out he's actually 49, but put 41 on there. He's from the UK. Clearly, look at his favourite car. Same car as mine. Mine's better. Favourite track, Nordschleifer. And then a little bit about his system at the bottom there. And a little place for a picture or whatever. Now, these driver profiles are going to start to appear for all of our RWB racers. And all I'm going to say, I'm only going to say it once, and that is, let me know what you want to put on there, guys, because I'm going to start editing, and that will be fun. So look out for the next race where we will be using driver profiles at the end in the commentary, and of course at the during the race. Let's pop that off now. Let's see what else is going on.
That is cool.
That looked amazing.
That is very nice.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's cool, yeah, and as ever, it's all very well having the sort of. I thought about that sort of thing ages ago and started, shout out to Flack, who done some templates for us, and you know what it's like. Real life kicks in, and you end up losing the momentum in certain projects and initiatives, and then bang, it appeared. FX, the Gandalf wizard, the super tech wizard, has been playing, and well, look, I don't know any other club that uses that sort of system, so we're the first, and I'm looking forward to populating that with a load of shit, unless you drivers give me the right information.
I just think
I've
that's
got a profile already written in my head.
that's a world exclusive, isn't it? So we can't let Charger out now. We're gonna have to tape him to chair.
Well, I'll tell you what he can do.
These guys don't know about it yet.
He can start playing the bloody cleaner. You can start paying the cleaner charger. This place is disgusting.
Factor.
Needs a tin of gunk chucked on it.
Let's have a right now. Okay, now back to the race, fellas. Back to the race. Let's remind ourselves. Okay, Rigel is out in front. He's on soft tyres. We're on lap 24. Those tyres are shot to shit, and he has not pitted. Behind him, as I said, he would close up because those mediums have got a great lifespan on them, and he's just coming up to Cos now, lapping Cos. Cos gets out the way. Rodders uses the opportunity to exploit a bit of slipstreaming. Rodders is on mediums, and he is now 6.67 seconds, 6.7 seconds behind Rigel. So he's catching him up, and he knows that Rigel will have to pit soon. Al Gartner in third place. Do you know what?
Holy,
Clap,
wasn't he just
clap,
fifth a little bit ago?
Beginning slow, respectful clap. Let's hear it for Al Gartner, fellas.
Well done, sir.
Clap,
Well
clappity,
done.
clap, clap. But be careful, Al. Don't sit on your morals, because that bloody the surgeon, as I nicknamed him. I think he's changed his handle on Facebook. Discord. Yeah, the surgeon, clinical. He will catch you up, and do yourself a favour, Al. Don't battle with him. FX up into 5th place. He was 8th earlier on. He's now into 5th. FX has not pitted yet, though. Seahax has pitted.
Behind in the pits.
Yeah. Madley has pitted, and Madley is now at 6th place. So Madley, in theory, is chasing Seahax, not FX. FX has got a pit yet.
Just to interject there, Dave Cruz available for commentary if you.
Yeah, absolutely. Can someone drag him in?
I got him.
Great stuff. Pinpoint in 7th place. Now Pinpoint has pitted, and Pinpoint has pitted. He's on soft tyres, so he is chasing Madley. Mark Bean has pitted. He's in 8th place. Flack running with Flack now is in 9th place, and Cos down in 10th place. Up front, Rodders is now in front because Rigel has just exited the pits in front of FX. So now this is the time that Rodders has got to exploit this. We're in lap 26. By the time lap 32 comes, those mediums will be shot to shit, and I'm willing to bet around about lap 32, 33, Rodders will pit. But in the meantime, Rigel has just come out on mediums. He's come out on mediums, so that is going to be very interesting because when he pits again, he will probably come out on softs. That's what I'm willing to bet, ladies and gents. So he's on mediums now. He'll have another 30 laps in him, and he'll come out on softs. Now, earlier on, we saw... Earlier on, we saw a couple of great battles. We saw Pinpoint and Pinpoint and Bean, and we saw Madley and Dave Crew, who are playing the DRS game. Now, sadly, Madley late braked into Prima Virati, the first chicane there, and just tapped Dave Crew on a late break. And as I said, that wasn't intentional. That was a racing incident. You could see that. But, you know, Dave Crew would be entitled to petition that. That's finished his race. He went from 3rd to 13th and then back up to 4th position. So, you know, undoubtedly he will be a little bit sore from that. So let's find out, shall we? Dave, how are you?
Sore.
Yeah, I
That's the
thought
word.
so. Yeah, talk to us. You
Sore
know,
and a little salty, yeah.
qualified well. Bit of a problem at the beginning, then climbing the way up, and then that happened. So tell us in your own words what went on.
It was just a racing incident. I haven't watched it back, but I know he wouldn't do that deliberately, obviously, because it could have ended everybody's race. It's just racing. It's, you know, we was very close. There's nothing in us. And like you said, we're just playing with the DRS, trying to get sort of one up and obviously get Rodders as well into the bargain, hopefully, at some point. So, because I think Rodders was on the mediums at that point, wasn't he?
That's right.
If we could have got past him, we could have probably pulled away, you know, enough of a gap. So just with corner speed. So, you know, it stings, but it's one of those things, isn't it? So it's racing. So, you know.
So will you be petitioning that racing incident or not?
If I'm honest, I generally don't. So, you know, it doesn't. I don't get anything back out of it, do I? So is the way I look at it. I know they say, oh, you should, but I generally don't, unless I think it was more on the deliberate side, and I don't think that was deliberate at all. Like, so I haven't watched it back, but I know I've had some great racing with Justin. So since I've been racing with him, and you know, he don't give you nothing, but then why should he? So that's the way I look at it. It's you know, he races hard, so it's.
Yeah, I got to agree with you, Dave. It, you know, from our perspective, and even Tigers mentioned it. It didn't look malicious. It just looked like wrong place, bad time. But you had a hell of a run. It was a lot of fun to watch you.
Oh yeah, I was enjoying that, getting back through the field. I must admit that was great fun. Up to that point, it was the most enjoyable race I've had in those cars. But you know, and I knew I had pace from qualifying, sort of thing. So. But I think all it was is because he was obviously up behind me. Soon I was a little bit further back from others, and so I had more downforce. I think when we first hit the brakes, and you're braking from the fastest bit of the track, and it's the heaviest braking point, and I don't think he would have had the downforce. So he probably locked up, snatched a wheel or something, which obviously you accelerate if you're not rotating the wheels. You know, your car will actually sort of semi-speed up. So that's, you know, it's one of those things, really.
Yep. Sorry, TK, over to you.
Just wondering what downforce was actually running.
I was on. Oh Christ! I was relatively low. I was on. Oh God, something like 7 and 11, something like that.
Yeah, that's pretty close to Chargers. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
we could have affected it.
It's quite different.
Yeah, and then
I was on 8.6.
Yeah, it just, you know, you trouble is you want low downforce, obviously, because there's 3 extremely long drags, 4 in fact, on that track, where you get up into top gear. So you want to remove as much downforce as possible because you spend so long with your foot flat down. But the corners are really tricky on there. Obviously, there's 3 chicanes. And then that final, you know, you've got the 2 Lesmos, which are tricky. And then the final corner, you want to carry as much speed as you can for the next long straight. So you just got to take as much off as you dare and try and tune as much mechanical turn into the car. Basically, is how I found to do it. It's crude, but it you know, it's one way of doing it. I'm sure there's more subtle ways of doing it. But as soon as I put more downforce on, I was just slower. So,
out of interest, Dave, how many how long was it before you got took out? I don't mean that.
Do you know what? Because I was racing so close and that I wasn't actually looking at my HUD at all. I had no idea how long I had till my pit stop. So I was on a 1 stopper, soft.
Did you complete 25% of the race, do you think?
Don't think so. Don't think so.
I think in that instance, if you don't want to put in anything against Madley, and I'd probably agree with you, it's a racing incident. We usually have 25% rule if you do that. You know, I mean, I got an 8th place for a DNF, which was my fault. I think on that instance.
Button in, fellas. Sorry, button in. Sorry, charge. So Rodders is now pitted. I said lap 32. He's coming on his 31st lap. C-Hack's now crossing the line. Will Rodders get out? I don't think he will. I think C-Hacks will take first place. Yep, he has. So C-Hacks has taken first place. Sorry about that, Charge. Yeah, carry on, Charge.
No, that's fine. We digress from the race. I was just going to say, Dave, I think you probably get the points for that race anyway, you know, regardless of 25%. So, you know, it'll keep you in, you know, you still get, what, 11th, is it? Yeah.
Well, to go back to that, two things, if I may, first, Dave. First of all, in my view, it was a racing incident, and I absolutely agree with you. You know, everybody out there is very conscientious of their RWB brethren when they're racing. There's no such thing as a bloody on purpose, you know, smash and grab out there. Everyone is very respectful of other people's racing. You know, that's part of our mantra, is to respect other people, and the racecraft out there is genuinely good. And you are right, you know, at the end of the day, Madley was on DRS, he was slipstreaming you, so, you know, if you're slipstreaming someone and your DRS is open, you need to brake a damn sight earlier than you normally would, because, you know, as you say, your braking effect is going to be that much less. You've got less downforce, and of course you're slipstreaming. He just nicked you. In fact, I was a bit, I say, concerned that actually there was damage to his car as well. So it's a shame. But I mentioned about the petition, Dave, not to try and encourage it, but purely for the stream to remind that system is there. You know, this is not a free for all out there, ladies and gents. You know, there are rules and regulations. But you know, you're not going to see a public lobby smash and grab system out there. So fair play to you, Dave, for accepting that was a racing incident and not pressing charges and having him run round the field being chased by sheep. The other thing I can tell you is that Madley's got some new hardware.
What's he got?
I say again, he's got some new hardware.
Something that didn't work.
No.
He's got some new brakes. Well, he needs Madley, press bloody harder, you lunatic. Right.
That may well have
Needs
been
to man up that leg, doesn't he? That's what it is.
It may well have been his issue
yeah.
that he's not used to them, you know.
Yeah, it is. He actually messaged me, Charge, and he said, crikey, these are fantastic, but it's going to take me some getting used to. So I think he's moved away from a block of soap on the end of a bit of wood with a bit of string onto a keyboard that presses a button to brake. He's moved from that to a pair of to a CSL Elites with a load cell. So yeah, it's early days, and he's getting used to it. But you know, fair play to him. Let's go back to racing, boys. Currently, C-Hacks is in first place. He's pitted. He's on softs. Rodders, 14 seconds behind him. He's pitted. He's on mediums. I told you, medium. So he'll go all the way. C-Hacks is 14 seconds on him. He's now on lap 33. So C-Hacks' tyres are okay for a good few laps yet, but let's face it, he hasn't been sitting in the middle of the field. He's been making progress through the field, so them tyres will start to go off in around about 6 laps, I'd say. Rigel in third place. Now Rigel, he was on softs, he's now on medium, so he's playing the long run. I'm willing to bet, Draco, TK, Dave and Charge, I'm willing to bet that either Rodders and Rigel will either take it all the way to the end on what they're on, or depending on what the time differentiation is to the next one behind them, they will have one more pit and stick softs on for the last section.
I think Rigel, because he took his softs to 25 laps.
Yeah, I did.
He's going to go the full stint on those mediums.
I agree with Charger. I do. I see Rigel doing that. Rodders, however, I'm not sure. We're going to see how those mediums go, but
no, Rodders will go. The Rodders won't stop.
So he's got to on those. He's committed to it. 'Cause he went half distance, didn't he, on the first set?
Yep. He did.
Yeah.
So I thought he'd have gone on to the softs for the second stint, to be honest with you, and taken the mediums another 5 laps. But so I was able to get 30 laps consistent pace, and I caught Rodders back up. So that's why I thought he was doing a longer run on the mediums to go soft.
Yeah, and we saw that strategy from him over at Autodrom Most as well. He did the same thing. So it's almost as if he prefers the medium tires.
Yeah, they're the most consistent, but I found that the softs were as consistent as they've been at any of the tracks so far around Monza. They were actually pretty good. I think it's because they had plenty of time to cool down between the load parts of the track, so they cooled down again on the long straights, so you weren't overheating them, so they didn't get as greasy. So even at the end of the run, when I think I had about 15-20% left after sort of 28-30 laps, they were hot and they were a bit twitchy, but they were still drivable. So
Seahacks then out in first place. He's just done his last lap was a 1:19.8. So I mean, the race pace has been between 1:19. Fuck me! I just sneezed. Sorry about that. And I think I'm still on mic. Oh shit! See,
you didn't get me on the screen, right?
Sorry. Seahacks on soft tyres out in front there. 16 seconds he's got on Rodders, who's on the mediums. You've heard what the boys have said about their potential strategies there. I'm willing to bet. I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm willing to bet this man here, Rodders, if he manages to extend away, bearing in mind Seahacks has got to pit. He has got to pit, and he needs 40 seconds in front of Rodders to guarantee that. We saw that when Rodders pitted. So Rodders, if he can keep away from Rigel, bearing in mind that Rigel is 7 seconds behind him, so unlikely, he will either go the whole whack on those mediums, or you never know what's around the corner. In his back pocket, he will have a strategy to drop softs on for the last sector. But he'll only do that if he's got the time to be able to do it. And that's perhaps a stupid statement, but the point is that Rodders has been caught out by the medium soft strategy before by Rigel. So be interesting to see what these two do about it. More importantly, or as important, sorry, what this man does about it, because he knows he's on softs, and we're on lap 36 now. So, as I said, 6 laps, so another 3 laps, we'll see Seahacks come in to get rid of those.
So here's a little interesting stats here after doing some averages right now. Average lap times on softs has been 1:18.9 average right now. On mediums, the average is 1:19.4. But now we're starting to see between 18 and 30 laps in the way of the timing that we take to change. And we got someone off.
Is that Flack?
I think it's Flack.
I think it was Flack. Yeah, and Flack has retired. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. So retirers, Charger. Probably his bag. H-Tune. Dave Crew. Oh, terrible, Dave Crew. But you know what? The commentary box is better off with these two boys in it. It's better with you in it, fellas. Al Gartner, such a shame. Al was having such a great race. And I'm going to hand over to Draco. Draco, talk to us about this issue that we've got right now. S3S, you need to sort your lives out. I'm telling you.
Right.
Absolutely, 100%. But there is an issue, is there not, with speeding in pit lanes?
We're taking a look at that. FX did bring this up to the Sector 3 guys. We're noting some real problems right now with first and second gear, pit speed limiter on, and these guys are still tripping over the speed limit. There's been several tracks, and there's been an update, I think it happened about 2 or 3 weeks ago, where we started noticing this. I'm going to be very interested to see. I'm going to definitely have to work with FX on this one. I'm pretty active on their Discord as well. I think there's a problem. I think something's not stirring the Kool-Aid. These guys are usually really, really good about getting on that limiter and staying under. We've just started seeing that problem 2 weeks ago, and it's continuing. I do not know, but Al Gartner, H-Tune and Charger just this week for pit lane speeding
last
for
week.
crying. Yeah, and last
Yeah.
week. Well, yeah, and that's when we started noting that problem there, Charger. And I know FX has been vocal about it, and I've been in contact with some of those guys along the way too.
Yeah, we did see
Interesting.
quite a bit last week of it, yeah.
Now, there's two different types of pit limiter. There's a pit limiter that limits the revs to the engine, real life this is, and there's a pit limiter no different than in your Toyota Prius. I can't bring myself to say that name, but a Toyota Prius where you select a speed, and no matter what gear you're in or what revs are, it won't go any faster than that. And these cars are supposed to replicate that. They're not supposed to replicate a rev limiter. And I think that in the background, the physics of the pit limiter is based upon revs, because if you're in a second and third gear and you're flooring it, you'll go slightly faster. So I think the thing with the pit limiter is you've got to be in first gear, and even then, you're running a risk that you could well go over the speed limit. And I think isn't there a variation, Draco, with some pit speeds of 60 you're more inclined to sort of fail the pit limit speed.
Right, yeah, because you do have some that are 40 and some that are 60. And it's strange because it's just, it's different from track to track, but even still, you would think that pit limiter should keep you at least somewhat kosher. It's just, we're seeing these failures left and right here, and we've been seeing them the past couple of weeks, and
C-Hax is
just really
retired.
frustrating.
C-Hax is retired. No, he hasn't.
No,
C-Hax is in the pit, said he would come in, and guess what? Rodders has said, see ya, I knew you would. Rodders has just gone through the first chicane. Rigel is now 8 seconds behind him. C-Hax, we knew he was going to pit in the next couple of laps, and sure enough, there he is. He's come out in softs. He won't be able to do the rest of this race, 28 minutes remaining, on softs. So I'm very, very surprised. If he had changed to mediums, even then that would have been a hard call. But C-Hax is going to have to come in again.
I've got a bit of inside information into Rodder's strategy.
Inquiring minds want to know.
In the event of a fire, go for it, Charge.
I'm sure he won't mind me saying this now. He did a half-length stint on softs and mediums, and he was 20 seconds faster on mediums without doing the pit stop on the half stint. He reckons over the course of the race it will be 10 seconds. So I would say if he's within 10 seconds of anyone, he's probably going to win.
Well, he's not, because he's got 9 seconds behind him is Rigel, the other track master, just seeing him at the end of the parabolica into the start-finish straight. So these two now, they pitted within two laps of each other.
Yeah, I think these two, obviously, because Rigel's on mediums now, and I think he's going to go the full stint because he's pitted earlier than Rodders, because he was on softs, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I think Rigel's going to drop off towards the end of the race. So Rodders' 10-second win thing, I think he'll pull away from that 9 seconds.
Interesting. C-Hax on softs. You know what? I know it's a long race. I know there's 20. Oh, there we fucking go. C-Hax, keep it together. You've now got gravel and shit all over those tyres. But, why did he go on soft tyres? I just can't understand that rationale. It'd be interesting to see if he manages to take Madley. Huh?
There's pinpoint, drive-through penalty, speeding in the pit lane.
Oh, that will annoy him as it annoys us just seeing it. So he's got 3 laps to get that in. So we'll be watching for that. Rodder's now out in front on those medium tyres. You heard what Charger said there about the 10-second gap. Rigel is now 8.8 seconds behind as Rigel now comes into the first chicane. We can see him there. And Rodders extends away up to that second chicane. Madley on soft tyres, 7 seconds behind Rigel, coming into the first chicane. Behind him, C-Hax, just halfway down the start-finish straight, coming into the first chicane now. He's on softs, had that bum squeaky moment just a minute ago there, as I did. I think a little bit of wee came out actually. FX, great job. 5th place, FX. Laughing actually because he's on mediums. Do you know why he's laughing? Because Madley and Seahax will have to pit before him. He pitted 2 laps behind them 2 and he's on mediums. So he's got the legs. And he's not, Madley and Seahax are not that far. I say not that far. They're 30 seconds. So, if FX can keep this pace, we'll see. But if he does, then he will go in front of Madley and Seahax towards the last sections of this race, which will be absolutely phenomenal. So I'm going to predict that if Madley and Seahax have got to pit again for new tyres, FX does not. He does not need to pit. His racing style is such that he could take those tyres all the way to the end, as I think perhaps Rodders will, because he, as you said, Charger, he's not got 10 seconds, and more importantly, there's no, he's not going to give Rigel that time, back by pitting. He's going to lose 40 seconds, for soft tyres. So, yeah, he's going to go all the way on mediums.
Now I'm wondering if there's people out there that are wanting to race with us. And if
Very
so,
good point. Now, listen, ladies
sure
and
we've got
gents.
a link, haven't we?
We don't need a link because look, here's the thing: we've got a Porsche Cup starting tomorrow, Sunday, 21:30 hours. GT3 Porsche 911 RSR. I think it's 911R, isn't it, Charger?
On Sunday, yes.
Yeah.
What's that?
Oh my!
Ice cream, anyone?
Welcome. Join us on Sunday tomorrow for the Porsche Cup 4-round league. First race at Nürburgring, second at Bathurst, third at Zolder. So let's face it, straight away, there's who doesn't know those tracks? And the last one, Dubai. I don't know Dubai. I'm going to race in this one. Lots of people are going to race in it in the Porsche. That's going to be a lot of fun. That's taken over from the NSU TTS League.
So would that be a goodbye in Dubai?
A what?
Sorry.
Goodbye.
Dubai.
Right, TK, go and make the brew. Go on, off you go. Go and make the tea.
2
Go on.
sugars.
Go on. Yeah. So goodbye in Dubai. Now they're really good. It's a really good little league. That 4-round league. There's 15-minute qualifying, 20-minute race, and then there's a reverse grid for the second race based upon the results of the first race. No pit stops, no fuel, no tyre wear, default setups, real close racing. Going to be a lot of fun. Got to be in it to win it.
Hell of a car.
Exactly. So get your arse along. And let's remind ourselves that this particular league, as I think we've sort of adopted to promote wherever we can, and why not? Because it's such a great application, and he's such a great guy, Xerax. And that is that this league is sponsored by RacingSimTools.com or Racing Sim Tools, which is a really, really very, very useful tool that helps you set up your car for racing. Now, I've had a little dabble in it. Have you had more of a little dabble, Charger or Dave?
I haven't as of yet, but I will do.
No, I haven't as well. I did before when we first tested it on PCAS 2, and it just frazzled my brain. But it's something I will be looking into, because the tune, well, not so much on the Sunday leagues and stuff, obviously, because it's default, but this sort of stuff, because these guys are tuning the shit out of these cars, and it's blowing my mind. I can't keep up with them.
I think he runs his own Discord, doesn't he? So if you are having any problems, or if you want to talk to him direct, I think you can. He's actually sat there and you can talk to him. And there's thousands. There's quite a few people sat in that channel that use it daily, and that they can pass on tunes and everything. It's a really good program.
Well, you know what you're doing with it, TK, because you were the tuning master at one point, weren't you? You were just tuning every single car you came across.
PCAS 2, I finally got my head around it. Mainly just playing with it, but it is very good for visual aspect. It shows you direction to go in rather than just clicking in, click blind, if you know what I mean. but I know there is a lot of help actually in that Discord channel as well. And I mean, as I say, you can talk to him direct.
Yeah, I know. Rigel's been using it as well to good effect. He's been using it to tune the cars in this league for him, and you know, sometimes we're quite different, I think, but you know, he's way more consistent than I'm ever going to be. So, and you can only do that if you're getting your car somewhere where you like it. So, it does work.
There you go.
I bought a license for Raceroom experience, and I've just been kind of just seeing how my car, you know, goes through and operates, and the wealth of information and feedback that you get from it is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, certainly it's pennies, isn't it? I don't think it's that expensive.
Yeah, it's not expensive at all. I think it's $15. So look, there you've heard some guys talk about it. All right, Racing Sim Tools. It's an outstanding app. He's our sponsor. That's who's sponsoring this league and some of our other races as well. He's a nice guy. He's got his own Discord, as you've heard the guy. He actually classes himself as an engineer who likes to sim race. You know, he sets up cars, real life racing teams. This is a real life application that's been modified for Sim World. He used to have an app for Project Cars 2, and it supports multiple simulations, and I know he's going to extend it out to even rallying, for example. And don't, you know, have a look at it, buy it. It, you know, it costs less than a packet of cigarettes or a beer if you're in London anyway. $15 is nothing, and you know, it's an outstanding app. And if you're not sure what it is that you're looking at, it's got a great help file, a great documentation. And as you heard Dave mention earlier on, and TK, they've got his own Discord. And if you don't know where that is, or you want instructions for that, well, you come along to ours. How do you find ours? rwbracing.club. Click on the Discord link. In you come. Watch the video. You'll be then set, and then you can tab him from there. He's a really nice guy, and it's a really nice application. Let's remind ourselves, fellas, of the race. Sadly, Pinpoint has just retired. That's such a shame. He was having such a great little race there. A similar incident, actually, Dave, with you and Madley. He had the same incident with Bean at the same place, pretty much. So sad to see Pinpoint retire there. Flack has also retired. Al Gartner has also retired. Dave, of course, you know, we know why Dave retired with Madley. H-Tune and, of course, Charger with his bag. That means we've got 7 guys left out there. Now let's remind
up some points. Cos is hoovering up some points, just playing safe.
That's right.
No, he's a bugger, isn't he?
he's playing the safe game, and that is his strategy. He will let everyone else fall off the track, and that is a perfectly acceptable strategy to have. And you know, it was a bit of a shame. There was only 13 starters tonight. If I was in this league, this was one I would not drop. But you know, it's a long league, 12 in. 10 in of 12. But let's get back to the racing. Let's remind ourselves, we've got 16 minutes and 50 seconds left. Rodders is out in front, medium tyres. He can go all the way on those tyres. But in the last 3 to 4 laps, I think you'll find that those tyres are going to start to provide some trouble. We'll see. I may well be wrong. Rigel in second place, now 10 seconds behind, also on medium tyres. These two are on the same tyre strategy. Neither of these two are going to change before the end of this race. That much is sure. But Madley in third place, 11 seconds behind Rigel, and Seahacks 2.4 seconds behind Madley, as we just see Seahacks go into the first right-hander. These two are on softs. They will not make it to the end of this race, and we've just seen Madley go into the pits there. Seahacks will not make it to the end on soft tyres, so he's got to pit again. Perhaps he's wondering whether, or hoping that Rodders and Rigel will have to pit again, in which case he will see Hacks pit and come out on mediums, or well, not mediums actually, with the time left and the laps left, he'll come out on softs, but he's got to pit again, no question. FX on mediums, he can go the full way. He's in 5th place at the minute, and be interested to see whether he comes out in front of Madley. Madley is just entering the track now on the start-finish straight, coming into the first chicane there. So FX's race is with Madley. He's 5 seconds behind Madley, but Madley's on new tyres, and guess what? They're softs. So he'll go to the end on that. Mark Bean in 5th place. Looking at Mark B now, he's on medium, so he'll go to the end of the race on those. And Cos, as you heard Dave and TK mention earlier on, I think it was Dave, he's gathering, so he's sucked up some points there. We should call him the Hoover, because he just sucks it up.
He's like an old Exocet, isn't it? You can see him coming, you can hear him coming, you just can't do nothing about it.
Coal powered by coal.
Steam powered Exocet.
Steam powered Exocet. Here he comes in hard tyres. Nice safe race. Nothing wrong with the car. It's to be a safe setup, and fair play. His strategy is to let everyone else fall off the track.
Talking of FX, he sent you a message. Well, he sort of mentioned something to me, and I said I'll send the message across. RS5 V6 bi-turbo is better than V8.
Not being funny, right now. I'm just going to say one statement charge, and then I'm going to move it on to the race in this last 14 minutes. But put it to you only have to V6 bi-turbo or V8. Don't answer that. You know what the answer is. V6 bi-turbo. What, you're going to hug a fucking tree at the same time? No, V8. Trees die when I drive past. Kids cough. Diabetics fall over.
It registers on
scale. You're a Greta killer, aren't you?
In reverse back.
Everything dies when I drive past in a V8, and I like it, but the government has me on the tax, I can tell you.
Just smell burning dinosaur behind him. I've just got 2 rounds left now then. So that lady's not that far off at stage now then.
No, not at all. Lap 50, here's a challenge for you if you've never raced 50 laps in a sim before, let alone with other people. Just fire a sim up, jump in a car, any car, jump in a Mini if necessary, and drive around the same track for 50 laps. See how you get on. Then times that by 1,000, because that's what it's like for these guys in this F1 car. It's ridiculous. This guy here, Rodders, the Sage Scotsman, is naked. I've said it so many times, I'll keep saying it. Naked, little shriveled up tinkle at his desk, naked in VR. 50 laps. It's hard work. It can be physically and mentally quite demanding, this sim racing malarkey. So absolutely fair play to all of them and all of you guys as well who finish these races. My maximum is about half an hour, then I'm ready to kill myself. So lap 51, Rodders, 20 seconds now in front of Rigel. So we've obviously missed something. Rigel had an issue, but Rodders is now 20 seconds in front of Rigel in these last closing sections of this race with 12 minutes and 8 seconds left. Seahacks 4 seconds behind Rigel on softs. He's got to come in the next couple of laps. He's going to try and push those tyres to the end, boys, I think. What do you think?
I think he kind of has to at this point. I mean, if he wants to go ahead and maintain in the top 3, he's got a lot of room behind him, but even that might be pushing it.
I don't think he can go to the end of this race on softs.
Nope.
I don't know. Maybe if he conserves the tires a little bit, guys. To be honest, I've seen him pull some pretty strange stuff.
Oh, he's very. Yeah, I mean, he's very, very. Sorry, TK, go.
No, I'm saying he did pull it off at that 2 stints at Spa, but it could be a quick corner that catches him out. It could end it, but. Yeah, I don't think he's.
Well, I think, boys, the time we need to look at is the differential between Rigel and Seahacks. Currently 4 seconds. Let's keep our close eye on that. Let's not look at the differential between Seahacks and Madley, because Madley has got soft tyres on, but they're newer tyres, so we would expect Madley to close up anyway. But that won't be a true picture as to whether Seahacks is dropping down on pace or not. The picture will be between Rigel and Seahacks, so we'll watch that. Rodders has got 20 seconds on Rigel at the minute. Rigel has got 4 seconds on Seahacks, so that's where we'll keep watching between Rigel and Seahacks. Madley's 30 seconds behind Seahacks, and FX is 6 seconds behind Madley. Mark Bean 29, 30 seconds behind FX, and Cos in 7th with a lap behind. So it's a fair play that this man Cos will stay on the grey stuff and will finish this race in 10 minutes and 10 seconds time in 7th place. Mark Bean 30 seconds behind FX, currently in 6th place. I don't think on mediums, with the time that since he's pitted, that he will catch FX. FX is in 5th place. I think he'll finish in 5th. I don't think he'll catch Madley. I've been looking at the time differential, and it's stayed between 29 and 31 seconds for the last 3 laps. So FX will finish in 5th. Madley is in 4th and 30 seconds behind Seahacks. There's no way that he will claw that back from Seahacks because he's on the same tyres. And Seahacks and Madley, we know, are on both on the same tyres, like I said. But Seahacks pitted, 3 laps before Madley. So Seahacks tyres are going to go off. The time differential to Rigel is now 2.7 seconds from Seahacks. So Seahacks is still closing up, isn't he?
He is. He's consistently biting in. He was at 4.1. He's now at 2.9, I think.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, he's a thorn in the side. So if nothing else, if he's consistent with his current speeds, he's catching. And that's always been kind of Seahawks' game at the end of the race, is kind of staying in so he can get himself in a good position. I just don't know. I'm double guessing his tire strategy right now.
Interesting.
If FX is going to make a place here, he's just seen that Justin is going to slow down.
No, he can't. He's got. I don't think he will. TK. He's got 30 seconds there. Madley can stop and read a book and have a shit, and FX won't be able to catch him up in that time. I don't think that'll happen. Quick question, guys. This is to Draco and to TK. Racer of the event so far. I've got mine in my head. What about you, Draco?
I've got to go with Rodgers. He has played a very sound and almost perfect strategy. He's dominating this race just based off of the strategy alone. He's kept it very clean. He's kept it, almost, textbook. I'm for Rodgers.
Well, we can't choose anyone who's in 1st and 2nd and 3rd because there are real points to be gained by it. So, yes, I agree.
Okay.
Great strategy there, but we can't choose Rodgers. So, who else?
Keep it clean, cars.
I'd like to see Justin Madley. He's done pretty well. He's struggled in the beginning, fought back and got back up to respectable. Had a bit of a toss up there with Dave, but he's been pretty consistent. Times have been outstanding. I mean, his best lap is 1:19.3. I kind of like him for the pick there.
Okay. So Madley for Draco. TK, who's your man?
I'm going with Cos. He's plodding along and keep on going. I'm going with Cos.
Well, okay. So Cos for TK, and for me, it's Dave Crew. Qualified really well. That put Gamer Smug really high up on the points. Had a problem down into 14th, back up into battling for 4th and 5th. Had that off there, and has been a complete and utter gentleman about it. And where he's kept his head where many would have lost theirs. In saying that, now that we've all said our person, Draco is gone for Madley, TK for Cos, and me for Dave Crew. We now have a round 2. Now that we've shortlisted those 3. So, Draco, would you want to change your vote?
I know he bowed out early, but Al had one heck of a series there. He fought back from the back of the pack. He made it all the way up to 3rd at one point, and just because of that silly pit lane speeding problem right now, he's out of the race. And honestly, I don't think he needs to be. So I'm going to change it to Al. Okay,
you've changed it to Al. TK?
I think your argument was really impressive, sir. I'm going to go with, Dave Crew.
And I'm going to stick with Dave Crew. So, there you go. So, racer of the event, and notwithstanding the fact that you know everybody who gets mentioned as racer of the event, it gets mentioned for absolutely fantastic reasons because they're worthy of it, and it's not it's not the top 3. We get to speak to them anyway. But and I do agree, Draco. Al had a fantastic race, and if Al had finished, I think he would have just picked Dave Crew for me. But in what we saw with Dave Crew, it was competitive, it was fast, he was right up the top, then right down the bottom, kept his head, climbed back up, got shunted off, which Madley will be the first to say, I'm so very sorry about that. It was his fault, it was not Dave Crew's fault. We spoke to Dave Crew earlier on in the commentary box. I'm not sure where Dave is now, I think he's making a brew. So for me it's Dave Crew. So Dave Crew will be the race of the event, we'll chat to him later.
I got to be honest with you here. As we're watching C-Hacks with his line, I can't help wonder how much of his sloppy driving here lately is because of his tires.
Yep, told you. As of about 3, look at the understeer here, and that's on softs. So, but look, remember what I said, it's the time differential between Rigel and C-Hacks. And when we said let's start looking at it, start measuring it, it was what, 3-4 seconds?
Yeah.
And now it's 2.7, so, C-Hacks is catching Rigel. Rigel's tyres, will be past optimum now, as will Rodders's, but Rodders's is pulled out 5 seconds in the past 3 laps on Rigel. Rodders is now 25 seconds in front of Rigel, but C-Hacks has closed up to Rigel, essentially about a second. So, with 3 minutes left of the race, Rigel is playing, I'm staying in second place, you're not having it, C-Hacks. C-Hacks is saying, sod you, I want it, and he will push hard, but C-Hacks tyres, they are shot.
I mean, they're peeling at this point, for crying out loud. I'm surprised there isn't stuff flying off of them.
So as it stands now then, Rodders would be done first, is it? Rigel second, depending on C-Hack's third.
At the minute, yeah. And, Rigel, let's ride with Rigel. Let's look at Rigel. So Rigel's on mediums. His tyres will be fine. They're past optimum, but they're not going to fall off the road. They're not going to fall off the track. Rodders, let's ride with Rodders.
God, he makes it easy.
It's sickening, isn't it? But that's what happens when you drive a Civic. When you drive a Honda Civic, you get a chance to drive like that, don't you? Only lunatics drive Civics. Rodders commanding lead out there, 25 seconds from that man, Rigel, which, crikey, neither of these two are slow. Bloody hell. They're super fast. And this guy, C-Hacks, is, as you've seen in the last few races, I think he had a DNF in the last one, but certainly at Imola, wow, what a race he had there, and he's had some fantastic races. He is hunting down Rigel, and he's got 2 minutes to get past him. I don't think he will, but that won't stop him, I'll tell you now. Riding with C-Hacks coming into Ascari, let's see how he tackles this. Bosh, in, floored.
Wow, okay, forget what I said about the sloppy driving, that was perfect.
Whether his tyres are going off or not, he's doing a bloody good job. Madley in 4th place, again on softs, riding with Madley for a little while. Let's see how he does. Where is he now? Remind me. So Saragello. So he's come up to Ascari now, isn't he? Let's see how he tackles Ascari. Okay. Yeah, a bit smoother, isn't he? And by that I mean on throttle, whereas C-Hacks would have been full throttle by the time they exit.
Yeah. Yep.
FX doing really well. I said he'd finish in 5th, and he will. Mark Bean, 34 seconds behind. He will finish in 6th, which is good which is a good position. But actually, Mark Bean will be the first to say that he would want to be a bit higher than that. Very quick, very talented, very continuity is all there. Fastest bus driver in London. He can go from Victoria to Marble Arch in 40 seconds.
And a hell of a nice guy too.
Hell of a nice guy. And he's a nice guy as well. Cos just missed out on racer of the event. I've got as much respect for anyone who finishes a race as those who win, especially when those who finish know that there's no possible way that they could win by virtue of speed and talent. And there's a
And
lot
he's done
to
it
be
on
said for
hard tires too.
Yep, which is his strategy. You know, one change, hard tyres. Rodders out there, 20 seconds left to go. Let's put it back onto Auto Director. Yeah, no, we won't. We'll watch Rodders now. Let's ride with Rodders. Coming into the second chicane. Keep our eye on Rigel and Seahacks. Seahacks is still 2.7 seconds behind Rigel. Rigel in second place currently. 25 seconds behind this man, Rodders. The naked Iron Brew Scotsman. VR only. VR for the win. As he comes up to Ascari, he will cross the line and that will be the end of the race, and he would have won this, which would be great for him and great for the scores on the doors. Rigel there, we can see him coming into the second right-hander, and just in the background there is Seahacks. Rigel and Rodders now coming into the Parabolica and extending away. We'll ride with him as he crosses the line on the start-finish straight. Rodders finishes round 10 in first place. Well done to Rodders. Fantastic race. Watching Rigel now.
Nicely done.
Coming down the back straight, hunting down what is Mark Bean. But in the background there, the red and white of Seahacks, who's undoubtedly by now realising that he's going to finish in third place as Rigel extends out of the Parabolica and into a cloud of burnt rubber as he crosses the line in second place, and Seahacks in third place. Fantastic racing by them two. I still think Seahacks should have gone on the mediums. Be interesting to see what he says. Madley onto the back straight now, notwithstanding that little bump he had earlier on with Dave, and we spoke to Dave earlier on how graciously he's accepted that as a racing incident. We know that it was a racing incident. Madley's a lovely guy, and certainly it wouldn't have been done on purpose at all. Madley finishes in fourth place, and well deserved by him. FX round into the Parabolica then, and then he will finish in fifth place. I know he'll be exceptionally pleased about that. V6 bi-turbo is not better than a V8. I get the last word. And then Mark Bean crosses in sixth place with Cos, who will finish in seventh place. Pinpoint, Flack, Al Gartner, Dave Crew, H-Tune and Charger all sadly retired, which concluded a 13-man lineup for round 10 at Monza. Also, that was a good race, wasn't it?
Entertaining as always. I mean, like I said, I love watching these guys at Monza. It's just so much fun. The course is fast. The action is just absolute. And those chicanes, they're just so much fun to watch a talented driver go through.
Certainly is, and we saw Rodders extend his lead there. Seemed to have got nicely into the zone, and yeah, that's what we do here at RWB. Race, race, race.
You know,
Absolutely.
and it was really interesting to see it just, you know, and it kind of, I think along the lines of what you guys were saying, it did seem like those guys were just finding that zone and they were just there. You know what I mean? Because we didn't see a whole lot of changes after we got into lap 25 to 30. Things really kind of just settled down. They found their own rhythm, and you know, from there it was just basically the tire strategy.
Yeah. Well, we'll give them another 30 seconds or so, and then Draco, if you'd be so kind to jump up and ask whether these guys are ready for us to have a chat with them. But just to fill some time while Draco's doing that. Yep. So there you go. That was round 10 at Monza, and you know, a really good race. Round 11 is at Slovakia Ring and 12 at Suzuka, and that will conclude the 12 round league. This is some serious, and this is full length, you know, 90 minutes worth of racing. There aren't many leagues out there who put on that sort of distance and commitment. It's a hell of a thing. There you go. So that was round 10. We've got the Porsche Sunday League starting tomorrow at 9:30. Come along, try your hand. First round is at Nürburgring, then Bathurst, Zolder and Dubai. Finishes on the 17th of November. So first position was Rodders, second place was Rigel, third place was Seahacks, and our racer of the event, as we said earlier on, was Dave Crew, who's of course Rigel's Rigel's partner in the game of Smug. So we've got the guys in the commentary room now, so we'll have a quick chat with them. So Rodders, again, excellent race. 25 seconds on Rigel towards the end there. Interesting to see you do the one-stop strategy with the medium tyres. How were those tyres at the end, and how was the race for you?
With the mediums, the loss of fuel, the car actually felt better and better, even though you were losing grip. So basically, it started off terrible and got better the longer you drove it. The tyres got a bit funny at the end, but they say the lightness of the car made up for it. I knew I'd timed it, so I thought it was a quicker strategy, but I knew there was a chance of getting caught up in traffic as you fell back at the start and folk that are in two stops, and that happened and was actually going okay, if a bit sketchy, but I caught Rigel pulled a 5-second gap at the start because I think Hacks and I and a few others got involved with each other, and then I hit madly getting into the first chicane after he got past me, and I slowed down to let him pass, but the way he went off, it took him ages to get back on track, so I thought I'd blown it by that point, and then I seen Rigel was in a one-stop. I thought, oh dear, but fortunately he was in softs his first stint, lost a bit of time at the end, and then I think I'll let him see, but I think he struggled in the mediums initially. So yeah, from there I just had to keep the head down. I knew Hacks was in a two-stopper, so yeah, just head down, don't crash, and yeah, really pleased.
Well, it was a great race, mate, and a great strategy as well. And at one point on the stream, I did say did actually say, I think we're about 30 minutes in, 30 minutes left to go. Notwithstanding the fact that at the beginning you were on mediums and the guys in front were softs, and I said, he'll be sitting there chuckling to himself now, knowing that those tyres will go off around about lap 22, 23, somewhere around there. And of course he's on mediums and he'll be able to extend away until probably lap 32, 33. So providing he can, stay at the pace that he's at the minute, he'll be able to sort of leapfrog those guys. Really great, interesting race, Rodders, and great to see you out there. And very many congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Rigel, over to you. Rigel, again, second place. It looked like you were almost off the pace on medium tyres. What was your sort of, how were you feeling with those medium tyres? Because clearly your pace was a lot quicker on the softs, notwithstanding that would normally be the case. But you certainly lost some time on Rodders there. What would you put that down to?
When I first thought about this race, I thought about actually going 2 stints of softs, but it became obvious that you couldn't do that anyway. And I'm not a great fan of Monza, and I just can't pick the lines. Just not as quick as the other guys, so I knew I had to do something a little bit drastic. So that's where the soft to medium strategy came in, and it worked for a bit. But Hacks, I'd obviously got the pace on me. I was a bit annoyed actually to find he was on a 2-stop. I thought he was going to take some points off Rodders.
Well, second place and a great little battle in the first half of the race as well. So second place to Rigel, that's going to make points very, very interesting. I mean, Rigel, you've won 2 races, you've came second in 3 races, and you've come third in 2 races, and of course Rodders has came first in now 4. So the points is very interesting between you and Rodders. There's only 1 point in it. So it'll be interesting to see how this pans out, bearing in mind we've got Slovakia and Suzuka. So the final question to you, Rodders and Rigel, both of you, before we move on to C-Hacks, is who's best at Slovakia and who's best at Suzuka?
Well, we'll find out in the next 2 weeks, essentially. I was glad to do damage limitation, really. The pole position for me was a bit of a shock. That made the difference. So I think it's probably just seesawed the other way. You're probably just 1 point ahead, aren't you, Roddy?
Yeah, they've just done the score and I'm 2 points ahead.
All right, so still all to play for.
Yep,
absolutely.
To your question, Slovakia ring, don't know. To be perfectly honest, in a Suzuka, I don't think there'll be anything in it. Everyone loves Suzuka and it's fantastic in the Formula One's F17. So I still everything to play for, and I'd say for Hacks as well. I can't afford a bad race. We could easily, nip second. Yeah, so it's still sudden death for me. So I'd still say Rige's maybe slightly in the driving seat.
Yeah, and looking at that, you know, Rigel has still got to drop two of his races, but has got two of his races, but has got 3 races left. Whereas, of course, Seahacks can't afford to drop a race now. He's got 2 DNFs, 2 not finished, and 2 races that he's dropped. But you know, as you say, you know, the points, you know, it's testament to the sort of the very small gap between the first 3 in the league. And their skill level is quite remarkable. So very well done, Rodders, and to you, Rigel. And finally to Seahacks. Seahacks, a great 3rd place. Saying that, on your last pit stop, did you not think about putting mediums on, or were you happy to stay with the strategy of softs?
Yeah, I was happy to. I was planning on doing 2 shorter, sort of 24-minute soft stints, similar to Spa, and then banging on some mediums for the last stint. But that's only because you know, I'd not really done much testing this week. So unlike my usual sort of 500, 600 lap practice sessions during the week, this week I wasn't even sure if I was going to be racing. So I sort of took my foot off the gas, and then it just transpired that I was going to be racing this weekend and that I was available. And so I banged in some practice this week. This day, today, and a little bit last night. But I did, I only had time to sort of learn the course. I didn't have time to sort of practice any exotic race strategies. So I'm just happy to get the 3rd. So it was a good race.
Absolutely. And sorry, not to take that away from you at all. I mean, it was fantastic racing, and you were really pushing hard, and we were watching you. And the reason why I asked about the mediums on that last stint is perhaps that would have given you a bit more optimum towards the end of the race. What were those soft tyres? Saying that though, it wasn't me racing. So what were those soft tyres like towards the last couple of laps? Were they shot at that point? I mean, you were still closing up on Rigel.
Oh yeah, so they're fine. I think but at the end of all 3 stints, they were on the way out, but they were only just starting to lose out on the mediums towards the last sort of 5 minutes. But I'd managed to close, that gap from. Well, I think Rigel made a mistake, but I was gaining 2/10, 3/10 a lap, slowly but surely, reeling him in. But it wasn't the optimal strategy. Obviously the 1 stop was the way to go this time, and I just didn't have time to prepare.
Well done, mate. 3rd place. And Draco and TK, if you've got anything for any of the guys, I'm trying to keep these M bits a bit quicker to move on. But if you've got anything, please feel free to ask.
You've hit everything that I would have asked. You're looking good. Great race, guys. That was very entertaining.
Yep. Yep. That's fine by me.
Great. And on to finally our racer of the event, Dave. We had a chat with you during the race, and then we sent you off as a new boy in the commentary box to make tea, and you never came back. Fuck you. But Dave, from you, your interpretation of your race, bearing in mind it was very impressive. You qualified well. You were at the beginning there. You were right in the top lot. Then you had a problem. Then you were down in the bottom quadrants of the race, and then up, and then the great DRS battle with Madley. From your perspective, the race that you had, how did it go? And is there anything that you would do differently if you done it again?
Well, I definitely wouldn't lock up into turn 1 again. That's a bad habit of mine at that track. But I ended up last from that, and then it was actually great fun coming back up and got up to 4th. And it's just one of those things then. And we're racing hard, and it happened. So it's it's one of those things, isn't it? But it was actually really enjoyable up to that point. I was really enjoying the battle. We was right on the back of Rodders as well at that time. If we could have got past him, I think we would have pulled away a little bit, and it would have been interesting because I was on a 1 stopper on those softs. So, and when I was testing them, I could keep that pace pretty much for the whole run. So, I think I would have been, reasonably up there towards the end. I had pretty consistent pace on that track, which surprised me because I'm not normally very quick round there. So it was, but no, it was fun up until that point. It was really enjoyable. So, it was nice to have a bit of pace for once.
Yeah, well, you done very well, mate. And like I said, it was, you know, we were all saying it was quite impressive. You were right up there and then down, then back up again, and then that happened. It was a bit of a shame. But, you know, this will be of benefit to you. You will get some extra points for racer of the event. Currently you're running 10th and you're 8 points behind Audi. And I think Charger mentioned something earlier on about possibility of still being awarded some points without a petition going in. And we've already discussed that. And we know, you know, we've been fairly sort of open about what I thought, or you've been open about what your thoughts are there. And we're in agreement. So there won't be any sort of formal action. But great for you, Dave. And it's just a shame that we didn't see you for the rest of the race. It would have been really interesting to see where you would have finished up. So well done to you.
Thank you.
All right then. Well, there you go. That was round 10 of our 12-round F1 X17 League. Round 11 is at Slovakia Ring, and then we finish off in November with round 12, which is at the wonderful Suzuka. Congratulations to Rodders, first place. Rigel, second place. Third place was C-Hacks, and of course our racer of the event was Dave Crew, Tyrion Dave. So well done to him. A race of the event, Tyrion Dave. So there you go. That brings us to the end of the stream, pretty much. Remember what we said about the Porsche Cup starts tomorrow. First round is at Nürburgring, 15-minute qualifying, 20-minute racing, and then race 2 is a reverse of the finish results of race 1, and great fun. And so you've got to be in it to win it. So come along and have a go. Remember, this league and most of our leagues are sponsored by Racing Sim Tools. And you heard the boys earlier on speak about what a great application that is. Don't be afraid of the sort of complexities of it. Xerax is a top man and will always help you. And you can get his details from our Discord. And you know where to find us, rwbracing.club. So whilst we poised with our problems in the first world of brake pedals and load cells, remember there's always someone worse off than you, and we're just lucky to enjoy this hobby of ours, sim racing. So he's been Draco and TK.
He's been Tiger.
I like turtles.
We'll be working on the budget for sound effects, guys. We promise.
Don't race alone, race RWB. See you next week. Take care.
Later.